Hi, my name is Marietta Mehanni, and this week's Aqua Tip was inspired by Sharon Case. We had a session in the Aqua Mentoring that was all about balance training in the pool, and she did something really cool with the noodle suspended. Now, I'm not going to give it away because you too can become a member of my Aqua Mentoring. So make sure that you click on the link listed in the description so that you can check it out for 30 days for free. So check this out. So I'm going to hold the noodle down. So I was inspired by it, and here's the inspiration. So Sharon did a cross-country ski action here, suspended. And where I wanted to go with it was perhaps, can I travel to the side? Yes, I can. And can I bring my legs back down again? Oh yeah. Yep, I really like this. So then bring the legs back up again to the side. Now the whole time I'm holding that noodle underneath me. Now my fingers are not gripping the noodle at all. My fingers are completely relaxed and I'm just holding that noodle in between my thumb and my first finger and then back down again. Now if you've got any participants that have got an issue with doing that, yep, it is possible to also do it with all your fingers on the same side. So they're just using the heel of their hand against the noodle for those people that perhaps have some challenges with their thumb. And then they come back to upright. This is a suspended exercise. As you can see, I'm able to do it in reasonably shallow water and then come back down again. Now, you might want to do something where the noodle goes in front of the body and you might do a side-to-side motion where you're pressing the noodle across. Now, if you do the same thing here, but with your hands out wider, this is a great exercise. Kicking to the back, pushing the noodle across, and then you transition, so you now have the noodle underneath the opposite hand, and you're taking the legs up and down. Now notice how the opposite arm is moving. So my opposite arm is actually moving. This is a really interesting exercise because I'll tell you where I'm really feeling this. My glutes and my hamstrings, yeah? And my heart rate's going up a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. It's a really good exercise for that lower body. And the arms, other than this arm pushing through, this is the arm that's actually getting a bit of a break, but I'm holding it down. And of course my fingers are not gripping, but it's more about balance. So being able to stabilize yourself and not end up traveling down the pool. Coming upright, this is where it's really hard to stay on the spot. I really have to work hard with the opposite arm. Right? And then you bring your legs back down again. Yeehaw! And then you come back to the front and you might take your hands a little bit wider apart, legs kicking to the back, sweeping the noodle from side to side. Fingers are still not gripping the noodle, and then you go to the opposite side. Yeah, I want to say thank you to Sharon for the awesome inspiration, and this has definitely made it to one of my classes and they like it a lot. So I hope that you like this exercise. Now, if you really like my Aqua Tips, please support my channel. Click the subscribe button and the like button as well. And that is this week's Aqua Tip. You know what's really interesting is when I watch what I've recorded in the pool and then I'm thinking about the land demonstration, how I'm going to demonstrate it. And when I watch that recording again, just to remind myself of what I did and to check that it's okay, I always am a little bit like, I thought it would be the oblique or an arm workout. And in the water, I clearly say it's a glute and a hamstring exercise. And that's really important for me when I'm teaching a class, to remember to say those sorts of things rather than what I remember or I assume based on what I'm seeing on pool deck. So this is a glute and hamstring workout, and when you come to upright, it's a lot harder to actually stay on the spot. So if you're wanting to do this on the spot, and I like to do it on the spot because I'm a pool with lots of people and having them all move is a little bit of a challenge. However, you might want them to travel. That might be your choice. then you want to make sure the legs are moving up and down because that will keep them on the spot better. So how do you demonstrate this? Well, firstly, put the noodle in one hand and ask them to push the arm down. So this is how I would teach it. Place your hand in the center of the noodle, press your arm down so that your arm is down near mid-thigh, and take your feet off the pool floor. So I would actually use the upper frame, and I'd like you to move your left arm forwards and back, spread the fingers open. Now what I'd like you to do next is we're going to move the legs up to the side. Now this is going to depend on your strength. So you might say, I want you now to move your legs up to the side, so you're now substituting your legs for your arms for your legs, and you have your chair nearby so that you can see them where the end point is, and you're now here. Make sure that your left arm is still sweeping through the water, and release your grip on the noodle. You don't need to hold the noodle, and if you prefer, you can place all your fingers on the same side of the noodle. Now bring your legs back down again, so you're now in this vertical position, and we're going to go back again. So a chair is really useful for this demonstration because you can show them here. The frame's great to get them started, right? You could potentially actually start in this position. So we've got the arm down, release your grip and open the fingers. Now bring your legs down towards the pool floor, so you're now upright, and now take your legs up to the side. And for some of us, that actually might be an easier way to initiate the movement pattern just based on our teaching skill and experience. Now, when we go to that transition move, I then brought the noodle to the front. So I would say, take your legs behind you, place both hands wider on the noodle. You can continue not holding onto the noodle, spread your fingers wide. You're going to move your arms side to side while still kicking the legs up behind you. So I would stand up at that point, encouraging them to stay suspended, and then you say, okay, now we're going to transition to the opposite side. So place your hand on the noodle. You can begin with the cross-country ski here, or you can ask them to start off in this position first. So they take their legs from the back around to the side, and then they bring their legs back down again. This is such a great exercise for the lower body. It does elevate heart rate, I would say to perhaps a moderate level. The thing that will determine the heart rate is on the size of movement that they're performing, as well as how much they're moving this outside arm. Now, it's not an upper body workout, it's more of a lower body workout. This is a tip. The more they use this arm, the more they'll push their legs open, and they will get a better workout with their glutes and hamstrings. So the bigger the arm action, the bigger the leg action. So if you're saying really open your legs out and you're not getting the result that you would like, then encourage them to use their arm more, because when they go through a fuller range of motion, then they'll actually feel it more in their lower body. And then of course indicate, I want you to feel your glutes and your hamstrings. Now I've gone through some of the teaching tips and the cues and the technique, as well as ways to demonstrate this. Go ahead, get in the pool, get a feeling for what this feels like in the water. This particular movement pattern works in so well with a lot of other noodle exercises that you may do suspended, and I hope that you give this a go. And that is this week's Aqua Tip.